All right, guys. So today is all about learning more about the law of attraction. So I'm curious first. So I'm gonna put everybody on mute. If you are not on mute, I will mute you. And if you have anything to say, the reason why I put you guys on mute for because there's a couple of new people on here is mainly so there's no back feature. Our guys can hear exactly what I'm saying. So I'm curious first and foremost, who here has actually heard about the law of attraction? Put your hands up if you heard about the law of attraction. Keep them up. I want you to keep them up. I want to see. Okay, so it looks like I can't tell, Julian, if your hand's up or not. Chewy, looks like your hand's not up. Rishi, your hand's up. Okay, so it looks like a good amount of you got. Okay, there we go. There we go, Chewy. All right. Now, keep your hand up if you actually believe in it. If you actually believe in the law of attraction, keep your hand up. Okay, there we go. Like the honesty. I like the honesty. All right. All right. Awesome. Awesome. So I'm here to say, first and foremost, yo, shit is as real as it gets. But honestly, the way people teach it in books and the way people teach it in movies, and it screws up the whole law of attraction idea, makes it look just ridiculous. So for the people who don't know what the law of attraction is, the law of attraction is basically a law. It's a principle that states what you think about, you bring about. Your energy is what you manifest. Like your life is a manifestation of where you've been placing your energy your whole life. So if you think very negative thoughts all the time, like this is the worst life to be alive in, this is the worst, like you think negative thoughts, look at your life and chances are you're in some negative situations. That happens more than you think. It's truly your life is designed by you. Now, what I mean by you, it's very important that we understand what I mean by you is not just Pete or Rishi or Jesus or, what I mean by you is literally the entire energy, like the entire energy of what you are. Now, without diving like as deep as I possibly can, like we already talked about, guys, you are not the face that you look at in the mirror. You are the one who sees through those freaking eyes and you're looking at yourself. That is a pretty cool thing to think about. What up, Adrian? What up, Adrian? I want you to go ahead, bro. I'm going to put you on mute. And guys, if you guys have anything to say, please raise your hand. If you're on screen, raise your hand so I can see. And you're more than welcome to come on and ask any question, leave any input that you have to leave in there. But also, I want you to go ahead and drop some things in the chat. Drop any questions you have in the chat for me, and I'll be sure to get to them. So the law of attraction, again, guys, basically what I think about, I bring about. Like that is like, we can put it in a nutshell, and we're going to give it the most simplest idea we can give. It is what I think about, I'm going to bring about in my life. But I want you guys to we're all going to take a moment. We're all going to close our eyes and we're going to reflect. We're going to look within our minds, and I want you to take just mental inventory of the kind of thoughts you have. And I want you to be honest with yourself. Like, think to yourself, do I think more negative? Do I think more positive? Do I think about the things that I don't have? Do I think about the things that I do have? Like, let's look at where you're really at. So for about 60 seconds, and if you're watching the replay, please take the time to do this. Let's go ahead and let's just close our eyes and let's just take a mental inventory. And I'm going to do the same exact thing, all right? So on the count of 3, we're all going to close our eyes and just kind of see what kind of thoughts we think, all right? And 3, 2, 1, go. And just open your eyes, and at the same time, while being very aware of like just the way that you just like live your life, like the way that you think. And then I want you to like really take the time to pay attention to what your life actually looks like. and you're going to see that it's pretty freaking spot on. Like, it's pretty spot on. The way you think and the way your life reflects itself back to you is pretty spot on. All right. Looks like we got a question from Rishi. Hold on, bro. I'm having trouble unmuting you. Give it to me, baby. What's
Right.
up?
So, Adrian, I'm just going to probably jump ahead a little bit in the conversation you're trying to have here and try to attack something that I struggle with a lot.
Okay.
It's that just the way that people are wired and the way that you've been taught, it's that disappointments and failures are supposed to fuel you on the way to success. That's A. And B, that you should not dwell on your failures and your disappointments too much. So in my mind, it's always those two thoughts are clashing with each other, because, okay, you're not supposed to dwell on your disappointments a lot because, failure and disappointments, that'll just cause you to invite a lot more of those into your life. And B, that remembering the failures is what drives you to success.
Okay.
So it's like honestly, I know you're not my therapist or anything, but this is probably a conversation I should have with a therapist, is that it's a clusterfuck in there. Pardon my French, but it is a clusterfuck because the two opposing thoughts that both may be true, but your mind naturally just goes to what's not great in life. It's just how you are, how I am. So how do you reconcile these two things?
Got you. Well, that's a good question. So that kind of is like, it is a bit like, so okay. So the way that you said is your mind basically goes towards the worst case scenario or the worst like directions, right? The worst thing that it can possibly focus on. Now,
right, or the things that I've failed in, my failures.
Dwell on those, okay?
Right.
So now, when you look up at the world and you like to look at your life, and be honest with everybody, do you feel like your life is a failure?
Some days.
Some days.
Yeah.
So that's all you're gonna see. Is if you're fully convinced that life is a failure, then that is like straight up all you will ever see. But remember, we have that call on failures. So when it comes to failures, for sure, they teach us a lot. Like John C. Maxwell says, you either win or you learn. But if you don't learn, you just lose. So you either win or you learn. But if you're learning, you can never lose. Because learning something is a win in itself. It's like a big win in itself. Like, oh, I learned what doesn't work. Okay, good. That's a win. So the thing is this. Failures, yes, they're important. Like we had that one call on like the beauty of failure. And like failures are important because they teach you, and you wouldn't be able to really be grateful for success if it wasn't for your failures. Now, does that mean that we're supposed to use our failures as like fuel for success? No, it doesn't. But what we can use our failures for are literally just lessons. Like a lot of people, they look at failures, they look at their life as a failure. So, oh my God, I'm such a failure, so I got to use that to like kind of push me so much harder in the like the direction of success. But to be honest with you, instead of dwelling on your failures, learn from them in the moment. Like in the moment when you fail, you just, okay, I learned what doesn't work. You learn in the moment, but instead of dwelling on your failure, just dwell on where you're going to go. Like dwell on the becoming what you want to become. Me, I don't dwell on failures. If something fucks up, remember, spilled milk, we just let it go. Spilled milk, we just let it go. But I understand that the milk is spilled in the moment. I'm very aware of that. But I'm not going to go on the rest of my day thinking about the milk that I spilled and I left it on the table. I'm going to dwell on where I'm going. Because remember, bro, it's not about what you're going through. It's about what you're going to.
What you're going to.
And that's why it's so important that you dwell on where you're headed. But yes, in the moment is probably the only good benefit you can get from a failure. It's like utilizing that in the moment, not carrying it with you, bro. And so if you feel contradicted in between both, like you're like playing tug of war, like which one is true and which one is not. Honestly, bro, it's up to you what you claim is true. Like, what is going to be true for you? What's going to be true for you? For me, what truth is for me in terms of failure is a success within itself, because I'm just learning what doesn't work. And so I see failure as a great thing, but that's like I assign it that. Like, so many people have all these truths. Everybody has what their truth is. My truth is this, my truth is this, my truth is this. But if you look at it, they're the only one giving it truth. So now the power is in your hands, bro. Like, what do you want to be true for yourself around failure? Like, what do you really want to be true for yourself? Write that question down and ask yourself, and really sit on that question. What do I want failure to be? What do I want to be true in my life in terms of failure? Because if failure is a beautiful thing for you, bro, and that becomes your truth, failing is always going to be seen as a beautiful thing, because you're no longer going to be dwelling on it. I guarantee you that. If failure is beautiful, you're not going to dwell on failure, because the only beauty in failure is learning from it. And so you're going to learn the lesson from it. And whatever lesson that is, you're going to dwell on that. And then that in itself is going to take you, it's going to take you far, because just dwelling on the lesson, that's dwelling on the future, because the lesson is something that's future oriented. You learn something to use in the future. But at the end of the day, bro, what's going to be true for you? You're the one who makes that decision. All right? All right. So, you good? All right, buddy. Now, thank you for asking that question. Please, guys, if you guys have any other questions, just drop it below, or just go ahead and raise your hand like Rishi just did. But today, guys, the law of attraction. Who here has seen the documentary The Secret, about the law of attraction? Like, you've seen The Secret? So y'all can go check The Secret out after this. But to be honest, The Secret like leaves The Secret out of The Secret. Like, they teach you some bull. But like, guys, basically they show you that, hey, if you sit down and you visualize your life, it'll come true. If you think about where you want to go long enough, it'll come true. Yes and no. It depends where are you coming from. Like, what they don't talk about is a law of repellent. The law of repellent. This is strongly active in your day-to-day life. So the law of repellent could be something like this. And this can be something that you guys have to like deal with yourself. But the law, to give you an example of what the law of repellent can be. I'm sure you guys all have a desire to be rich. I'm sure like that's something a lot of people want, to make a lot of money, or to like have the options. Now, they can have the desire to become rich, to become wealthy. They can work towards that. They can do everything in terms of actually working towards that desire and making that shit actually happen. But every time they feel like you're about to get their big break, something happens and it just never works. And they're like, man, what the hell? I'm doing all the visualizations. I'm doing all the money affirmation manifestations. I'm doing all the hard work, but still nothing's happening for me. That's because there's something in them subconsciously that is repelling that actual like the manifestation of their desire. And one of the biggest things that can be that repellent is the belief that all rich people are assholes. So you secretly don't want to become an asshole. You know, man, I'm not an asshole. I'm a loving person with a loving heart. And if you have a deep-rooted belief that all rich people are assholes, and because you don't want to be an asshole, every time it comes to getting money, you will literally repel yourself from ever making that happen. Because there's a deep-rooted belief that says it's not okay to have that. So if I have that for myself, that means that I have to become what you would deem an asshole. You know what I mean? And another real easy one is something like, now this was something I had to deal with myself. And this was a bit challenging for me. Was I felt wrong because I kept I kept coming up short of that, like that big financial breakthrough, right? And I was like, man, what's going on? But I knew about the law of repellent, but I never paid attention to it. I was like, man, okay, let's see what the fuck I'm really dealing with. And as I started just meditating and really like searching within myself and asking the question of, because guys, remember, you ask a question, the answer is on the other side. And then I asked the question was, what am I repelling? What is it in me that's keeping my desire away? And for me, I got like a sudden vision of my dad. Just like a quick, his face, you know, his grumpy ass face just popped up on this in my like meditation. And I was like, what's it about that? And for me, what I found out was I felt like it was wrong for the youngest son in the family to make more money than the father. I felt like it was wrong. I felt like by me making more money than my father, I made him just devalue himself. And I feel like he was less of a man because his youngest son is taking care of the family. That was a hard belief for me to break. But I had to understand what was really keeping me back from that. And so I addressed that. And I actually had this conversation with my dad. I said, Dad, there's a funny way that I feel. I feel like if I make more money, I make you feel bad because you're my dad and your youngest son's making more money than you. And I was like, is that true, Dad? Like, do I make you feel like you're less than a man because I'm well off? Does that like make you? And he was like, son, what the fuck? He was like, no. He was like, I'm happy that you're doing good. Like, I want you. You think I want you making $60,000 a year like I do? He was like, I want you making more. And then because I heard that, I was like, oh my God, for real. And then before you knew it, the actual breakthrough hit. I got over what that was. So in order to really get what you want, first ask yourself, what's repelling you from getting what you want? What do you believe that's contradictory to your actual desire itself? Like, what is really holding you back? And another thing that was holding me back was I wanted to take my business to, like, you know, 7 figures. Okay. I wanted to get to that 7-figure mark. And I was like, I want to get to that mark. So what do I got to do to get there? And then I had a belief that if I wanted to make more money, I had to work harder and harder and harder. I had to work longer hours. And so I saw myself fighting against the fact that I didn't want to work that amount of hours. And I saw myself kind of going against myself. And I was like, man, I got to work hard. I got to do that to get where I want. But then I had to realize, Adrian, no, you don't. Find people who can help you. So you can actually work less. You can actually put in a little bit less effort. But that doesn't mean you got to get lazy. But you don't got to bust your ass for 100 hours a week every week, Adrian. And so I realized that, and because I felt bad anytime I took a day off, I would feel bad. And so I had to address that with myself. And then once I realized, okay, I can't do the same things to get me where I am now. The same things are going to get me to where I want to go. So I had to let go of that belief. And then before you knew it, I started actually trusting enough people to say, hey, can you do this for me so I can focus on this? Can you do this for me so I can focus on this? And then the reality of that actually started becoming very, very apparent. And I was like, wow, it all comes down to what we truly believe that can be holding us back from something. So before we even talk about the law of attraction, I wanted to talk about the law of repellence. It's so important that you understand you can repel yourself from ever getting what you want by having a contradictory belief to like what you're trying to achieve. You're really trying to achieve something, but you have a belief that literally doesn't allow you to even get there. Like you can't want to eat meat, but then have a deep belief that anybody who eats meat is just disgusting and they're gross. And then when it comes to eating meat, you're always going to feel disgusting and gross about yourself. And you're not going to allow yourself to feel that desire. I mean, if you had that desire, it's kind of a weird desire, but I've been trying to give an example. Now, and now to go to the law of attraction, to make the law of attraction actually work for you, you got to first focus on your beliefs. Focus on what it is that you believe. And remember, guys, like I have it in the membership site on, I believe it's mindset, on the mindset module. There is, or like all things mindset, there's a module in there that says reprogram your belief, reprogram your mind overnight. And that is the belief exercise, where you work from what you see and you work backwards to your belief. So if you see that, you know, you got to work for money, trade your time for money. If that's what you see in your life, remember, work backwards. Oh, I don't got to work, trade my time for money. That's not a fact. I just believe it's a fact. And so it ends up being a fact for me. It ends up being a real fact. And so you want to, before you even try anything with the law of attraction, first start changing what you truly believe. And the easiest way to do that is to go to the membership site, go to the mindset module. You're going to see a lesson that literally says reprogram your mind for health overnight or something like that. Use that exercise, because that exercise will make you conscious of subconscious beliefs. And when you become conscious of the subconscious, it's like the coolest revelation. You're like, oh my God, like this is why my shit's the way it is. And then follow what I say in that video, and you're actually going to get where and you will see that you easily start reprogramming your mind without any effort at all. You just got to record yourself and then listen to it. But once you start getting over once you start getting over your repellent beliefs and you start seeing what your beliefs are, then you can actually start focusing on creating the life you want. And so it's very important that you understand your thoughts are literally things. That's one of the key aspects of understanding the law of attraction is thoughts are things. Every thought can literally be measured. Believe it or not, there is, I forgot what it's called, something scope, is where they measure they measure electromagnetic reactions. So every time you think, electromagnetic reaction occurs. And we can measure that, meaning our thoughts are actually more tangible than we think. It's freaking mind-blowing to like start seeing this stuff. So since your thoughts can actually be measured, and your thoughts are electromagnetic, your thoughts are literally magnets that pull in certain events. But it's not just your thought, it's also your emotional state, because your heart is up to 500 to 1,000 times more magnetic. So the feeling is always one of the determining factors. But one of the best way to control your feelings is to control your thoughts. Because the way you think is going to be the way you feel. And in other terms, the way you feel is the way you think. You feel real anxious, you have very anxious thoughts. You think real anxious, you end up becoming real anxious itself. They just work backwards. I mean, either way, they feed off of each other. So when you understand that thoughts are things and they literally pull in certain events to really happen, then you can start consciously choosing your thoughts. And this is when you start consciously choosing your thoughts and you understand, holy shit, these are things. Every thought I think is going to bring the life that I want. And this is real. So, but you also got to understand the law of gestation. There's always a law of gestation, meaning there's a time to where like everything has to happen. Like, you know, like when you get pregnant, you don't just pop overnight. You don't just have the baby the second you get pregnant. You got to wait about 9 months for that baby to pop. In the same exact way, you plant a seed, the damn fruit doesn't pop out all of a sudden. There is a law of gestation. There is a waiting period. Now, guys, if I can tell you the quickest way, the absolute quickest and surest way to start manifesting your dream life, it'll be this. Keep a one-track mind. That's the secret to manifesting everything you want. Keep a one-track mind. If every thought that I think is one direction, if I think about a sandwich And then my next thought is about how good the sandwich is going to taste. And then the next thought, and then the next thought. All about a sandwich. All related to a sandwich and getting myself a sandwich. Within a few minutes, you will literally be eating a sandwich. But if you think, I'm about to answer that for you. But if you think, oh, I want a sandwich. Oh, no, I don't want a sandwich. You know what? It is possible for me to, it's actually not possible for me to have a sandwich. Man, I would have really liked a sandwich, but I don't think I have the stuff for the sandwich. You know what? I may have enough stuff for the sandwich. You know what? Actually, never mind. Now that I think about it, I don't. You know what? And you literally just have thoughts that go back and forth, back and forth. You're gonna eat your sandwich maybe in a day. It'll take longer for you to get the sandwich. But if you just think in one direction, that is the key to getting everything you've ever wanted. Not in terms of what's possible and what's not possible. Yes, Abraham Hicks. There you go. Guys, what you're going to see is, it's crazy, guys. When you want something, I urge every single one of you guys to only think in terms of possible, not impossible. If you literally think in terms of only possibilities, like if you set a goal, I'm going to lose 50 pounds this year. Okay, so let's say one of you guys have a goal of dropping 80 pounds this year in working with me. You have a goal of dropping 80 pounds, right? Now, are you going to think, oh, I'm going to lose 80 pounds. Yes, I'm really going to lose 80 pounds. And then when the next day you're like, man, I'm never going to lose 80 pounds. I can't do this. I'm just not good enough. I don't have what it takes. I'm not strong enough. You know what? I am strong enough. I will lose 80 pounds. You know what? God dang it. Never mind. I just don't have what it takes. I'm not disciplined enough. You're literally going every which way. It's like you're going left and right, but you're not going straight. Like if you want to get somewhere, if you want to attract what you really want to attract, think in one fucking direction. The last thing that I do, and excuse my language, I just saw the baby. I am sorry, but one of the last things that I ever do is question whether I can do something or not after I say I can do it. I literally just think in terms of, this is the most possible thing ever. This will happen. This will happen. So this is a beautiful story by Sadhguru. Sadhguru shares a story like this. He goes, there's a man who's walking through like a forest or something. And then he starts thinking, man, it's really hot. I wish there was a nice shady place I can lay down. You know what? That'll be amazing. I can imagine the beauty of being covered by the shade and the comfiness of a soft grass. Oh, how amazing that would be. Oh, I absolutely love that. I can't wait for that to happen. And then before you knew it, just a tree popped up with a bushy thing of grass, and then a beautiful, literally just set out a big old thing of shade for him. And so he goes and he sits under the tree. And then he thinks, man, I'm hungry. Oh, I would love some food. I would love some of this. I can start thinking of all his favorite foods. Man, I bet it will taste amazing. Oh, I love it so much. Man, I would take a big bite of this and this. Or thinking of all his favorite foods. And then before you know it, all of his favorite foods just start popping up in his existence. Just boom, 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 boom. He's like, oh, nice. Starts eating all of it. And then he gets thirsty. He's like, oh, all that food that I just ate, now it got me thirsty. Oh, I would love some of my favorite wine right now to put it down with. Oh, it would taste so good, so rich. He was just thinking of the beauty of the wine, how it would taste. And then before you knew it, boom, a wine bottle just pops up. He's like, oh, cool, my wine's here. So he just starts drinking his water, starts drinking his wine. And then he starts thinking of monkeys for some reason. He just starts thinking of monkeys. And then all of these monkeys just pop up on the top of the tree and they start messing with him. They're like, like they just start like screwing with him, right? And then he's thinking, oh my God, these freaking monkeys, they're terrible. They're terrifying me. They're terrible. And he starts thinking terrible thoughts. He starts thinking very angry thoughts. And then he starts seeing demons. Like he starts seeing ghosts and demons. Then he was all like, oh my God, these ghosts and demons are about to start torturing me. They're about to start torturing me. And then they start torturing him. What I'm trying to get at in this story was look at each of his manifestations. When he thought of sitting under shade, sitting in a beautiful thing, he didn't think from a place of, man, I don't have any shade to sit in. Oh, I wish I had shade, but there's no shade around. There's no place around. I wish I had it, but I just can't have it. He didn't think. He just thought of the beauty and the comfort of shade and how amazing it would feel. He just thought of that. And then when it came to the food, all he thought was food. He didn't think, oh my God, I'm starving. I wish I had food, but there's nothing around but grass and trees. Oh my God, I have nothing to eat. Oh my. He didn't think like that. He just thought of food and only food, and it came to fruition. He didn't have one contradicting thought. Same thing with drink. Same thing with the monkeys. Same thing with every thought process, every pattern was in one direction. It didn't sway left. It didn't sway right. It stayed in one direction. So if you can keep your mind going in one direction, whatever direction you're headed, you'll get there in record time. That's why there's people who are like, how does this person become so successful so quick? Look at their mindset. All they think is success. All they think is the possibility of it. All they think of is what they're going to do when they have that. They don't think in terms of this is never going to happen for me. Or I'm just not cut out for this. Or we're just poor. They don't have those thoughts, those contradictory thoughts. So if you want to make the law of attraction work for you, straight up, think about what you want and only think in terms of possibilities of it. And don't think in terms of what's possible and what's not. Like, don't think in terms of that. Say you want to live to 150. Yo, who knows? It might be fucking possible. It might be possible. Don't think in terms of it's possible or it's not. Because when we think in terms of possibilities, have y'all guys ever realized this? When you think of what's possible and what's not, you think about what's possible by looking at the past and seeing what has been possible in the past. And so a possibility, by the way, is only future oriented. It's impossible to have a past possibility. Like, no, that happened the way it happened. But it's very possible for me to, when I get off of this call, I can either eat my ounce of almonds or I can eat 4 slices of my 40-calorie bread. That's a future possibility after this call. I honestly haven't made my mind up. That's a possibility. But what I had before this call was a thing of egg whites and spinach. That meal right there, yo, that happened. That's not a possibility. That happened. So we literally think about possibilities in terms of what can happen in the past. Guys, that's not a fucking that's not possibility right there. You're just trying to, basically justify your limited thinking. That's all you're trying to do. You're trying to justify your limited thinking. We don't believe a human can get up and just fly. We don't believe that. Why? Because our past shows us that human beings can only walk. Straight up. Just like whenever they said that one guy, they said it's impossible to run a mile under 4 minutes or something like that. They said it's absolutely impossible. If you do it, your heart would explode. Your body literally can't handle it. One guy did it. The next year, 53 people did it. Until then, since then, hundreds of people have done it. They said that flying a plane, making a plane was absolutely impossible. Hell, the Wright brothers did it now. Every which way you look, there's fucking planes everywhere. It takes one person to prove what's possible. And then it's followed after that. So why don't you just think of what can be possible? Don't look at it from the past, yo. Like looking at things from the past, it doesn't do anything for you. Like when you think in terms of possibility, don't look at your track record. I had a call today with somebody who didn't move forward with the program because they've invested in plenty of programs and they've always failed. They've always failed. So they're like, I really want to do this, but I don't want to invest in it, commit myself, and then I just fail, like I always do. And I told him, I was like, how are you going to create a new future if you keep looking at it through the eyes of the past? You simply can't. So when it comes to creating the life you want, think in terms of possibility and possibility only. And remember that possibility is future oriented. Don't think in terms of, man, I'm just human. I can't do that. Like Sadhguru says, one of the most beautiful things I've heard was when we think of whenever we say just human, we're always referring to the limitations of being human. Like, oh, I can't do that, man. I'm just human. I'm just a person. And we refer to the limitations. But nobody refers to the immensity, the possibilities of being human. Like, yo, we use 2% of our fucking minds. 2%. And we think we've hit our peak in human consciousness? And what a person can really do? You gotta be kidding me. We're not even fully human yet. I like to believe we're not fully human yet. It's either you're fully human or you're just a bundle of thoughts and emotions. There's a big difference about becoming fully human. And it's not about, like Sadhguru says, it's not about becoming superhuman. It's about just understanding that being a human is super. And one of the coolest things about being a human is you can manifest every single one of your desires. That's one of the coolest things about being human. Is we have thoughts and we can initiate our thoughts to go in whichever direction we choose. So if you really want something, think towards it and never, ever sway left or sway right. And you will trust me. You will manifest every desire you have. You want to make $1 million by 2021? I know y'all do. Think in terms of I will make $1 million. Only I will make $1 million. And then watch. You're going to end up starting a business, hitting a lotto, something, yo. Fucking something. Believe it or not, the law of attraction can be summed up this easy. Just think in one direction. And you will have everything that you possibly desire. And I promise you, if you only think in terms of I can, only in terms of I will, and in terms of I am, and you just think in that one direction, you will have whatever you want. But the law of attraction is not about getting what you want. It's about getting what you are. It's like the law of radiation, really. If you're an asshole, chances are the people that you hang out with, you just attract a shitload of assholes. If you're really shy, really timid, or really scared, you attract a bunch of people like that. But if you're a go-getter, you're hungry, you're ready to grow, that's who you're going to bring into your life, yo. People who are hungry, ready to grow. And that's all you're going to see. But you don't get what you want. You don't think in terms of, oh, like, guys, like, it really comes down to where are you thinking from? Are you thinking from terms of scarcity, in terms of lack, in terms of I don't have it? Because if you're thinking in terms of I don't have it, you'll never actually have it. It's all about understanding that it's already yours. But again, you got to think that that's possible. And if you want it to be possible, just keep thinking that it's possible. And trust me, I promise, 9 times out of 10, fuck it, 10 times out of 10, it'll happen for you. Everything that I've said that I was going to do by this year, I've literally done more than I said I was going to do by this year. Because I've never questioned myself if I can do it or not. I just say, yo, I'm going to do it, so let's go. And then we go. I set a huge goal for me and my team this year for how many clients we want to have at the end of the year. None of us are thinking in terms of we're not going to do it. Every one of us are thinking in terms, all right, it's done. And so I promise you, we will hit our goal by that time because we only think in terms of possibility. So if you want to get where you want to go, think in that direction because you're always headed in whatever direction of your thought process. Wherever you think is where that's where you're going to go. Energy goes where attention flows. Remember that. Energy goes where attention flows. So that's really the easiest way to describe it. And that's me not getting all like very deep into it because honestly, guys, there's not much more to it than that. Other than just like, yo, how can, and by the way, if you keep your thoughts in one direction, your emotions are going to be in one direction. And when your emotions match up with a thought, like Jesus said, make the two into one and say mountain move, the mountain will move. What were the two he was talking about? Feeling and thought, emotion and thought. If you bring these two together and they're in the current, they're in agreement with each other, yo, you would literally bring about whatever you want. Whatever it is you want. All right. So if you want to get where you want to go, think in that direction, only in that direction, and you'll easily have whatever it is that you want. Guarantee you 100% of the time. 100% of the time. And if I'm lying, I'll die by midnight. All right. And I'll be here tomorrow. So you guys know I'm not lying. All right. Now go ahead. So I'm about to open it up to questions. So Rishi, you can go ahead and ask a question. If you guys have a question or you have something to say, drop it in the chat or you can raise your hand and go after Rishi. But go ahead, Rishi.
Adrian, so everything that you said makes complete sense. And in fact, I'm going to hit up that mindset module on the membership website about reprogramming your mind. I'm going to do that immediately. What I want to know is, probably you cover it in that video, but I want to know, are there any quick steps or, reminders to stay on the one track mind route, because the mind can run from 0 to 100 in a minute. So like, what are the tips that, you could give us, some things that you use, maybe like a checklist of sorts, 5 ways to stay on a one track mind.
Trust me, dude. I love checklists. I love them because they make life easier. I wish I had a checklist for this one, but I don't. But one of the things that I can tell you is this definitely takes time. This is a process, guys. It is a process to get your mind to a state where you truly are in the actual driver's seat of your mind. Because we're all meant to be in the driver's seat of our minds, but with the way that modern society is, and like when you're living from a state of unconsciousness, your mind takes the driver's seat, and then you end up literally just going wherever your mind goes. And like that's the way it typically happens. And after years and a lot of the times decades of that process, it can be difficult to break it, but it is possible. So one of the things that is going to really change. Okay, so here's a few things I'm going to give you, and these are a few things that they give in the book, The Law of Attraction. So now these are like practices that you got to do consistently, because guys, I didn't have the mindset I have the second I read the book. My mindset didn't just change. Like it took me like a long year of really practicing these things that got my mind to a point where I'm like, it's a lot easier for me to just stay one track. It takes time, but understand that it's possible and it can happen in a shorter duration than you think. But one of the things you're going to do is focusing up, create a book of positive aspects. So what this is going to do is you got to train your mind to start looking for the positive, start thinking in terms of possibility. So in order to do that, you want to train your mind to do that. One of the tricks is this: have a journal, title it Book of Positive Aspects. And every day you're going to pick something in your life, like a circumstance, a person, a thing, an idea, and you're going to write all the positives about it. Like you can talk about the world. You can just put the world. I love the variety of colors that the world has to offer. I love the amount of colors that are out. I love the beautiful faces. I love the beautiful women, beautiful men, whatever, I love, like, just write down all the things you love, and then do that about your country, and then do that about your parents. Do that about, like, focus on all the positive things that you love about them. This is a practice you can do every morning. Just pick one thing to write about and write all the things you love about them. And another thing is going to be constantly practicing gratitude. So every day, writing down 3 to 10 things you're extremely grateful for. That, and another thing, which is what you're going to really benefit from, all of you guys, is thought pivoting. Thought pivoting. Understand this. And I go into depth on this as well on the membership site. So under mindset, you should see something that says thought pivoting. But thought pivoting is simply learning how to pivot your thoughts in the moment. So first and foremost, Rishi, you're going to have to start becoming a lot more aware of your thought process, a lot more aware of the way that you think. One of the keys to becoming much more of an aware being is meditation. Through meditation, you literally grow awareness. You expand awareness. And it can easily be like this. A lot of times, guys, I don't know if you realize this, but a lot of times y'all guys think and you have no idea that you're thinking. Have you guys ever realized, oh my God, how the hell did I was thinking about that? Like, oh my, a lot of times you just think. You don't even know that you're thinking. It's freaking ridiculous. So one of the ways to combat that is you need to become more aware. And so one of the ways that you become more aware is whenever you're meditating, you're focusing on your breath, and then you get lost in thought. You're just all in these thoughts, and then you catch yourself. Oh man, I'm thinking. All right, cool. You literally just became a little bit more aware because you just became aware of your thought process. So as you keep becoming aware of your thoughts and catching them, you just start to expand awareness. And when you expand awareness, you know, like on a day-to-day, like you're going about your life, you're aware of a lot more shit. Like you're in a room and you're aware of more than the people in the room. Like you're like aware of people's energy. You're aware of the reason why they are where they are. Like you just like realize, like one of the things I became aware of was the fact that the creator is in us and not in the sky. Because when I started becoming much more aware of my thoughts, one day I was breathing and I realized, holy shit, every single breath comes out of absolutely nothing. And it goes right back to nothing. That means whatever the hell, there's something in here that can create a breath. And then it takes the breath and creates the breath. And I was like, oh my God, the creator's right here. And so like, that was something that like, I didn't read in a book. It just dawned on me one night. I was like, oh, wow. I was like, that makes so much fucking sense. And things like that. So you just start becoming more aware of your thoughts. When you become aware of your thoughts, you can pivot them. Meaning, and this is exactly like this. So once you think a thought, in about 16 seconds, another thought that's similar to that thought will hit like this. Wake up in the morning, fuck, man, I'm tired as hell. I don't want to go to this damn job. The second thought, man, I can't stand my damn boss. She's a bitch. Third thought, I'm over here doing all of these things and I don't even get paid enough. And then you're like, man, I hate Jenny from HR. And then you just start thinking of all of these negative thoughts. It started with one thought. And then you just start attracting them second after second. They start rolling. And before you know it, you built some mad momentum. And you're like halfway on your way to work. And you done had the worst freaking day ever already. Now, you can catch that. When you think a thought, we're going to go to the same example. Damn, I don't want to get up, man. I hate this damn job. And then you just catch yourself. You're like, okay, I'm thinking in a negative way. Let me twist that around and I'm going to pivot it just like this. Well, hey, at least I got a job. Man, I got money in my pocket that I can go and buy food with if I want to go buy food. How cool is that? Oh man, a lot of people don't have jobs. I do. Yeah, I may not like my boss, but at least I have a boss right now. And then you just start thinking, and then next thing you know, you start headed in the right direction. That, bro, if you thought pivot on a daily, but I still to this day, I pivot my thoughts. When something, I'm not perfect, guys. I'm more than honest with you guys. There's shit when I'm like, man, it hits me. And then what I do is I catch myself. I may not catch myself every time the second that I want to catch myself, but I do. And then what you're going to see is The more and more you pivot your thoughts, you're literally training your mind to start thinking in another direction. And then over time, it compounds. This is a compounding effect. Just like if I put in the stock market right now and I let it sit, I don't touch it, and then I touch it when I'm 60, that $100,000 ends up being 100 million by the time I'm 60. Over time, it just compounded. It compounded, and then boom. In the same exact way, this works just like that. Invest in it. Keep investing, keep investing, keep investing, keep investing in yourself, in your thoughts, in the way that you think, and you're going to see over time. One day, you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, damn, I had a good ass fucking day today. And the night before that. And the night before that. And then you see that you just have a completely different mindset. A completely different mindset. But thought pivoting is going to be one of the most crucial things that you take with you, Rishi, and every one of you guys. Start pivoting your thoughts when you catch them. But you got to become aware of them first. The best way to become aware of them, you don't have to sit down, crisscross applesauce. Yo, just close your eyes like we did at the beginning of this call and pay attention to the way that your thoughts go. Has it ever dawned on you that you guys can pay it, like you guys can watch your thoughts rather than listen to them? A lot of times you listen to them. You don't have to anymore. Just watch them. And go by. Hey, that's a thought. Hey, that's a shitty thought, but it's a thought. Just let them go by. Just like you're watching traffic on the street. You want to be a dumbass and listen to it and try to jump in traffic and get involved with it, you're going to get all screwed up. But if you want to be sensible, sit down and just watch the traffic. And it's a beautiful scene. All right? So thought pivoting is going to be one of the biggest things that you can take away from this call, bro. And remember, it takes roughly 16 seconds for a second thought to hit. So if you can catch it in that first 16, bro, you can set the trajectory of your day completely different.